The storm had ripped through the countryside like a wild beast, leaving behind nothing but shattered wood, twisted metal, and the broken spirits of those who had called this place home the morning after. As the sun struggled to rise over a landscape of ruin, an old farmhouse stood in silence, its roof torn, its windows shattered, and its heartbroken owners standing in the mud, an elderly couple, hands trembling and clothes soaked from the night. Before tried to lift what was left of their porch beam, every push seemed to pull more tears from their tired eyes. They weren't just rebuilding a house. They were trying to piece together decades of love, memories, and the simple life they once knew. If you believe that kindness still exists in this world, that second chances can come from the most unexpected people, then please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this story with someone who needs to believe in humanity again. A few miles down the road, a man named Jake Razor Miller revved up his Harley Davidson, its engine roaring like thunder across the quiet morning. The patch on his leather vest read Hell's Angels, and to most people, that was enough to make them cross the street or lock their doors. Jake had lived his life on the edge. Bars, back roads, and bad decisions. He'd spent years outrunning his past, hiding behind the brotherhood of the biker world, pretending that speed and noise could drown out the silence of regret. But something about that day was different. The road was slick, the air heavy, and the smell of rain carried a kind of sadness he couldn't shake. As he rode past the old farm, he slowed down. In the distance, he saw the couple, the old man struggling to lift a plank, the woman holding it steady, her face etched with exhaustion and heartbreak. Jake pulled over, engine still rumbling. Beneath him, he took off his helmet, staring at the wreckage before him. The house looked like it had fought a war and lost. He remembered his own parents, long gone now, and the home they had built with their bare hands. He remembered how he hadn't been there when their house burned down. Guilt, raw and familiar, twisted inside him. Jake dismounted, boots sinking into the wet ground. As he walked toward them, the couple froze, fear flickering in their eyes. When they saw the emblem on his back, Hell's Angels, it was a name that carried weight. Stories of violence, rebellion, and chaos. But Jake didn't say a word. He just looked at the wreckage, then at them. And then he said quietly, "Stop by. Got this." They hesitated, unsure if he was serious, but before they could respond, Jake walked back to his bike, pulled off his gloves, and began hauling wood, hammering boards, and setting up what looked like the beginning of a plan. He worked with a kind of determination that comes only from someone trying to make peace with something inside themselves. Hour after hour, he toiled in the sun, cutting, lifting, and rebuilding. The couple watched in stunned silence. Every strike of his hammer seemed to echo across the empty fields, a heartbeat of redemption. By noon, Jake had called a few of his biker brothers. They came roaring down the dirt road, rough men with tattoos, leather jackets, and faces weathered by the wind. But something miraculous happened. They didn't bring trouble. They brought tools, they brought wood, they brought paint, nails, and even food. In a few hours, what had been a scene of despair began to turn into one of hope. The men who were once feared for chaos were now building walls, patching roofs, and laughing together as they worked. The old couple couldn't believe what they were seeing. They had heard the stories, the warnings about men like Jake. But there he was, leading the charge, giving orders, sweating alongside his brothers, and rebuilding a stranger's home as if it were his own. When the old man tried to pay him, Jake refused. "You've already paid," he said softly, looking out toward the setting sun. "You reminded me what matters." That night, when the work was done, the house stood tall again. Not perfect, but strong lights flickered in the windows. The smell of warm soup drifted through the air, and laughter replaced the sound of the storm. Jake sat on his bike, looking back one last time. The woman waved, tears shining in her eyes. The man stood beside her, his arm around her shoulders. For the first time in years, Jake felt something he hadn't felt since he was a boy. Peace. As he rode away, the sound of his Harley fading into the distance, the old man turned to his wife and whispered, "Maybe angels really do wear leather." Jake didn't know if he'd ever see them again, but he carried that day with him, a reminder that redemption doesn't come from the past. It's built in the present, one nail, one kind act, one choice at a time. The world might always judge him by his jacket, by the skull and wings on his back, but he knew better now. The real measure of a man wasn't written on his vest, it was written in the hearts of the people he helped. Weeks later, the old couple received a small envelope. In the mail inside was a photograph, their rebuilt house gleaming in the sunlight, taken from the road on the back of the photo in rough handwriting. It said, "Ride safe, live free, love hard." Jake, if this story touched your heart and reminded you that even the toughest souls can carry the kindest hearts, please don't forget to like this video, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe to the channel for more true, emotional stories like this one and before. You go, tell us in the comments. Do you believe that people can truly change? Your words might just inspire someone who's searching for hope today, because sometimes the people we fear the most are the very ones sent to show us what love and humanity still look like.